Bella! So today I wanted to answer a question that was sent to me by a viewer, which I found was very interesting and maybe some of you helpful to some of you out there. So the viewer basically asked why I'm making video on witchcraft and why I'm making video on the craft and on the occult and all that stuff. If I'm more into bettering myself, bettering the world and all this stuff. So I think it's a very basic question, and the question does make sense. I think we all should have this kind of reflection, and this is somebody who probably glanced through my videos on the mundane craft, which I will invite you, if you are watching this video, to actually go and actually watch that series on the mundane craft, because it will give you actually my own perspective and why I'm doing these videos. But I'm gonna try to put this here. I don't want this video to be too long, but I'll explain to you why. I think it's very important that we are aware of what is happening in the world that we live in, and that we are aware of what is happening in our own environment and how institutions, the structure, and the system that we're living in, what it's doing, and what tools are being used in our vicinity to impact how we think, how we feel, and what we do. So the reason why I think it's very important, and I even say critical, for anyone to understand different religions, to search, to study different religions, to study different system of beliefs, to study different cultures, to study different different tradition of mysticism, and to study the occult and metaphysics and all this stuff. Why is it important? It's important because it's all around you. The people who use those systems are using them all around you. It's part of the energy that's going to be all around you. Some institutions, some things that are around that you are going in or using daily are based on some of those occult or mystic system. And if you do not understand that, you will be cheated. You will be pushed to make and take decisions without understanding the consequences, their physical consequences, their energetical consequences, and their spiritual consequence. I don't make video and saying expose this or expose that or break down this or break down that, because most of these videos, what they do, they just tell you, okay, this symbol that's being used, there's this that's being used, but they don't tell you what to do. Now that you know that this is devil or negative or whatever, that you're qualifying this thing, now what you're supposed to be doing. And most of the people who do, they expose this or they expose that, they don't tell you what you're supposed to do, or all they will tell you, oh, just go back to your room, go back to your house and pray and pray and pray. And it's obvious that praying that away is not preventing it from happening. If it was as easy as praying, there's a lot of people praying and there's still chaos in the world, there's still a lot of negativity in the world. So I think it's fair to say that praying alone is not going to do it, it's not going to cut it. But when you do understand what people are doing, when you do understand what principles they're using, you are in a better position to make an informed decision about where you want your energy to go, about what do you want to do in order to invest in your own self, and to only participate in activities that actually support your growth, that actually benefits you, rather than benefiting only someone else. And if you just want to, be, curtailed to your Bible or to the Quran or to your own tradition, your own text, and you're living somewhere else where this is not applicable, or this is not what the majority of people are following, then you're going to be clashing all the time. Especially if you have a family and your children are going to be clashing with that all of the time. Okay, with my parents and my family, we grew up, traveling the world. Okay, but for us, from a very young age, it was very clear that our tradition, our culture was different from the other people. Okay, when we were living in Switzerland, we knew we were different from what the culture of the Swiss were. Okay, my parents had friends who were from Latin America, from India, from all over the world, and we understood that our culture was also different from theirs. We learned from them as much as we could. I was embracing a lot of the stuff that was exposed to, but I truly understand and distinguish what was from my own tradition, what was for their tradition. And so it gives you a different understanding on when you are growing up, and how you're looking at your parents, how you're interacting and talking to your parents, as opposed of what is allowed in the mainstream culture, in the place where you live. Because if you do not understand the difference and how that those blurry lines can sometimes interfere with the maintenance of the culture, interfere with the respect you may have for your own parents, for your own tradition, you may be at loss, and it may cause a lot of friction between your children and yourself when you're living in such cultures. I have to say, I mean, we were 6 kids, and with even my brother, we were 7 actually. With my brother, back then he was with us too. So just imagine like how many, when we hit puberty and being teenagers, what my parents had to endure. But the difference was that in our African tradition, we have a certain way of speaking to our parents. There's a line that we don't cross. So no matter where we are, no matter what we see other people say, other kids do, or children tell to their parents, or teenagers tell to their parents, for us there's a line not to be crossed. We have a way to talk to our parents even when we're angry. We have a way to also, interact and prioritize our culture over the culture of others. So I think that's incredibly important to understand. If you live in a culture and you don't understand what is going on in that culture, what is the occult side of things, you will just be lost and you will never understand. Meaning that the decision that you think you're making, because you don't have the full information, you're not truly making a decision, because you don't know the rest of it. And that's a choice. There's some people who choose just to read the Bible or read their Quran or read whatever sacred text they have and stick with that, even though they're living in a culture that's full of all kind of symbols, all kind of things that are permeating in their mind. And what it does is that it's going to make your time on your battle even harder. You're going to be constantly having to fight between your religious belief, whatever it is, and the belief that's being ingrained into you, where every time you watch TV, every time you go outside, every time you hear some music in the store, no matter where you are in a public place, it's always going to be ingrained in you, this stuff. And you're not going to be able to escape it. If you're living in mainstream, you're living anywhere in some major city or town, you're going to be bombarded with that information. And if you have children, they're going to be bombarded with it. So it's much more conducive, I think, from my perspective, to understand what those symbols mean and to search and know how to counteract that, how to filter that out of your consciousness. And because it will make it much easier for you to stand on your own principle and on the own thing that you do believe. And every time you will be bombarded or exposed to that, your subconscious will do the work for you. Your ego sometimes may even step in, if you're training well, to do that work for you as well. And that will also enable you to teach your children. Your children will recognize when some of the cartoons are, teaching them things that are negative, teaching them how to steal energy from other people, to give energy to the TV. I've seen plenty of shows where, they're telling you, the kid, you dance, now you give me your energy. The character on the TV is telling the kids who are watching to give her their energy. And so while you may be trusting the TV to raise your kid or to entertain your kid, if your kid is not trained to be like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I'm just going to stay. I'm not going to give any my energy to this character, whatever it is, however attractive it is on the TV. Or matter of fact, I'm going to turn off the TV and I'm going to go play with my Legos or whatever, or the games that I do have within the home. And I think when you teach your child and your child understand that, then it's much easier for you. It's much easier on you to be able to relax, to be able to know that your kid's going to filter that right away. And I'm not part of I really don't like the movement where people will just fearmong you, because they will tell you all about those different symbols, what they mean, all the stuff, so that it's negative, it's this, it's that, but they will never tell you what you need to do in order to protect yourself from that. And because that's part of your own job. You have to say, if you one of those people who keep watching these conspiracies videos, or those videos exposing this, exposing that, or the super Christian, the vigilant Christian, or whatever other things that are exposing those sometimes those negative energies, those negative facets of the entertainment industry, of the mainstream media, you also have to have the same passion in saying, how do I fight this thing off? How do I not get involved in that? How can I not participate and give my energy to whatever thing that I find that to be negative, that I find that not to be serving me? And it's really important that you have that kind of quest within yourself to say, you know, I don't like things that are negative. I don't believe that we should be mistreating other people. I don't believe that we should be taking from people who need most. I don't believe that we should crush people who can't even help themselves. And I don't believe that we should mislead people. I don't believe that, you know, we should take advantage of people. Maybe I believe that people who have talent should be rewarded, not because they are being pushing us on an agenda. Or even people who are pushing an agenda, do I agree with that agenda? And if I don't, how do I now retain my own energy and not participate in that? And those are questions that you should be having within yourself, with yourself. And that the same passion that you're putting into getting all that information about, you know, the Illuminati and metaphysics and the occult and Aleister Crowley and whoever was conjuring demons and opening portals and all this different stuff, you should put the same energy and passion to study and know how to counter that. This is why I'm making these certain videos to show you the Mundane Craft is a series that actually shows you what is going on and what you can do about it. You want to worry about food poisoning and all of this GMO food or whatever. If you start paying attention to the food that you are eating, if you start taking this in your own time to grow certain food within your home or in your backyard, if you start taking responsibility for your own health. So sometimes it's so much easier for, you know, the religious people to just throw a stone and say, hi, you know, you devilish, you this and you that. It's like, but what are you doing about it? Running your mouth on the Bible is not going to change anything. What are you concretely doing? Are you even concentrating on your own self and shitting yourself to make sure that you are not participating in that system? Because there's plenty of example. We see certain Jewish communities just go among themselves. The Amish are also a great example of people who have a very specific system of beliefs and who do not spend their energy on anything else outside of that system of beliefs. And this is why they're still living without electricity. They still have their own way of life. They're still making invention to serve them in that way. This is why also the Native Americans do the same way. They live in the reservation. They do not participate in the mainstream media circus. They focus their energy in protecting their tradition, in protecting their land. And your energy is all over the place. Even though, you know, some people are saying, you know, they're super religious, they're super Christian, and I'm not bashing the Christian. I know a lot of Christians are watching my channel. This is why I'm talking about it. And I know also that there are some Muslims and other people from different religions who are watching. And so sometimes it's to me it's kind of like, yes, it's important to know your religion very well, to know the sacred texts, but it's also important for you to understand the other texts, the other religions and the other systems, because when those people are interacting with you, they are bringing that energy to you, whether you want it or not. And you have to understand that when somebody is saying, you know, I'm a Hindu and I believe this and that, I still believe that there is a God. I still believe that I still understand the difference between right and wrong. You know, I still understand that, you know, it's better and greater to make a contribution than to take away from people. It's better to create things of your own than to mash through or push through somebody else, to climb and step on somebody else to be able to get what you want. There's a difference between wanting to have a fruit on a tree and climbing yourself and stepping on someone else in order to get that fruit. There's a big difference in that. So I think it's you have to just open your mind to say, okay, those people do not believe what I believe. I'm not a Satanist, but I do try to understand what it is. Because if that negative energy comes around me, I will know what to do with it, how to deal with it. And I think that's the whole purpose of me being when I'm learning to when I'm studying and expanding myself and learning about different systems, different things, and my curiosity just goes on and on and on. I'm not doing that just for the heck out of it, for some, you know, mental exercise. I'm also doing that to understand what kind of environment I am in, to understand that there are some people that this is the train of beliefs. There are some people that believe that they can do whatever they want, cause however harm, as much harm as they want, and not see any consequences. And those people, you need to know how to deal with them if they ever encounter your own reality or your own bubble. And sometimes you will hear about them. You know, this is why when you watch the news, when you do different things, they are in the vicinity of where you are. Maybe some of you have interaction with them also. But in order for you to say, you know, a witch, a lot of the things with the witch hunt, was that people say, you know, witches are hexing, or, you know, they're doing this negative stuff, this witchcraft stuff, and they need to be killed. But I think a lot of them was just because part of it was a hunt that was unfounded, but a lot part of it is because the people were scared. When you're scared, you go and you just want to fight, you just want to eliminate whatever is scaring you instead of understanding it. Instead of gaining knowledge, because knowledge is what's going to be able to shield you no matter what is going on. If you know what is coming after you or coming towards you and you know how to deal with it, then you're not going to be scared of it. Matter of fact, if you even have a plan within your head, you're going to be even expecting that and knowing that whatever it is going to get what they're coming for. So, you know, you may want to just, you know, slowly start learning about Wicca and European witchcraft. Why? Because it's becoming very, very popular. It's becoming everywhere. There are books that are now published for teenagers and children and all that stuff. So they're teaching those stuff to kids, meaning kids going to be able to do spells, cast spells, do all kind of things, you know, and depending on if they're supervised or not, they may too think that they can do whatever they want and not have any repercussion whatsoever. And so I think if you know what they're using, or what tools they're using, how it works, then you can protect yourself even better. You can ensure that you are not going to be under such influence. And if you research that and study that long enough, you'll be able to walk around and to see people who are under spells, to recognize people who do make spells, and they won't be looking like a wizard with a hat and all these different things. No, they're going to be walking. Some people are sitting right next to you in church. Some people are sitting right next to you at work. Some people are sitting right next to you on the bus, you know, and you will not know that they are casting a spell on you at that very moment, unless you start studying what it is and you start protecting yourself and making sure you're shielding yourself. Unfortunately, it's always people who are ignorant who end up being preyed on. Because, you know, they want to attack people who are already protected. So I just want to just point this out. You know, it's not because you refuse to hear what it is and you refuse to understand what's going on that is going to make it go away. Those people are not going to disappear. The books are not going to stop being published and all of that. On the contrary, it's on the rise. If you look everywhere on the internet, it's I think now you have no excuse not to know what is the craft or what is witchcraft and how it's conducted and how people are doing. There's so many information now thrown out on the internet, meaning that anyone can be, you know, trying to cast a spell on all these different things. And this is the real reason why you should know about it, so that if somebody is trying to cast a spell on you, you are aware of it. And unfortunately, sometimes the Bible is not gonna cut it. And it's not a matter of how hard you are praying or anything like that. Sometimes it's a matter of how sincere you are. It's a matter of you dealing with your own demons, you dealing with your own insecurities. So you can pray as much as you want, but if you do have those insecurities within yourself, that energy can be tapped into, and that energy can be used to destroy you or to do all kind of things. So my last word would be just simply understand the society you're living in. Understand the behind the scenes of marketing. What is truly marketing? Marketing is not to do with just some economics, some random colors, or some, you know, customer behavioral studies. Those colors are chosen because they have a spiritual meaning, an energetical meaning. They know that certain colors would trigger you. Certain colors associated with certain energetical centers will push you to do certain actions, and that's what they're using them. You've seen it at the during the election this year. You know, the different tie colors, the different patterns also. They're using all the different light and colors in order to trigger things into you. Next time you go to the supermarket or to the mall, you'll see that the different colors of lights are being used to push you to buy something, to push you to enter a trance, to be entertained, entertained. And that's just reality. So no matter your religion or your system of belief, you're going to be walking in the same environment if you're living that, unless you're living like the Native American in an area secluded where you're surrounded by people who actually have the same core of belief and the same core of value. Otherwise, you're just exposing and being wide open to receive whatever messages are being sent to you, and subconsciously or consciously. So you can do yourself a favor and just be curious enough to learn what it is about, and to learn how to shield yourself from that if that's not something you want to participate in, because otherwise if you don't decide whether you want to participate in that or not, someone else will be deciding that for you, and most likely it won't be in your best interest. So I hope that answered the question. Of course, you can decide not to get involved or not to learn more about this, but I think in order to quench your thirst, because obviously you're watching this channel, so there is some type of interest within yourself, but it is important, because when you get the knowledge, the more knowledge you get, the less scared you will be, because you will know how to deal with that. And I find it interesting that, you know, just recalling from doing my Bible study days, they will talk to you about demons, about these archons, all the different negative entities and negative energies, but they will never actually tell you how to fight against that. They will not tell you, you know, praying every day is fine, but then what if you really send that negative energy? What you're supposed to be doing? No, for that you have to wait for the priest, to wait for the authorization of the church, and to see if it is qualified as something that extreme for them to come and help you, or you know, you have to go get somewhere else. But they don't teach you how you were supposed to deal with it. And I think this is something that you should take upon yourself. If you want, the next time you go to church, ask your pastor how you are casting. How can you cast the demons that are actually ranging around you? The demons that are in your own heart when you start hexing people just because you're telling them to go to hell. Just think about that. Sometimes you want to picture the witch, the negative witch, I'll say, or the negative witch who's hexing people just because she feels like it. Okay, they're different category, and justice has its place. But when somebody just want to exalt the power that they have because they feel like it, to show off or to show people, you know, what I can do, and casting hexing around, how are you going to measure up to that if you haven't been told, if you haven't known? And that same thing of spell casting or hexing somebody, it's sometimes as much powerful as someone from the church just telling you you're going to go to hell because of XYZ, because they feel like telling you that. So when you're talking to somebody and you're putting them down, and you're telling them that they something negative to them, you are cursing them out. This is what they say, you're cursing out people. You're placing a curse on someone else. Or you're telling you won't amount to nothing, you are miserable, you are this. Now think about all the situations where people around you have been saying that to someone else. People who don't even know anything about the craft have been using their words to cast spells and to send curses on other people just by speaking negative over them. And people in the same family, people who are close to each other, you know, in child support cases and stuff like that. So when you understand that those mundane behaviors have an energical consequences or spiritual consequences, where you can having all kind of bad luck to that, and you will think it's like a witch or someone did that something, when it's your very own family member who casted that over you when they spoke their word. They spoke with such intention and with such intensity that it actually sent you that energy, that negative energy onto you. So it is up to you to research those things so you can, understand them better, understand the power of people's words and the intention that are behind them, and to decipher between those two. It's not because somebody is speaking softly and telling you really nice things with nice words that they're not actually trying to entrain you to, hypnotize you into doing something else. The same way someone can be harsh and blunt with you and they're trying to wake you up and not do something negative to you. But it comes down to discernment. You really have to train yourself to discern things that are serving you, discern things that are advancing, and that support the objectives and the goals that you have in your own life. And to me, that only goes through self-development. You have to make the effort to understand what's going on around you and the world that you live in. And you have to make an effort to understand that and to learn what you can do in order to protect yourself. Because if you don't, no one else is going to protect you. This is just like the video I've made in terms of like your morals and your values. Society is not going to be there to protect those values or to push them forward. On the contrary, the mainstream media is here to bash all the values that people have. Actually, there's even really few values left. You just need to watch on TV how the family unit is being degraded. and everything is being put forward to be this individualistic, an individual who doesn't need anybody, a woman that doesn't even need a partner, a man that doesn't need a partner, who just want to be on his own, the children being left on their own, being raised by themselves. And this is being glorified, this is being pushed over and over and over to train people in thinking that it's normal. And it is your own job to protect your own values, and to protect the people who are next to you from all of that garbage. So, and if you choose not to, because you're too wrapped up in your own tradition and your own thing, that you don't understand that there are other things happening that are sinking into your subconscious without even you noticing it. There are things that are being used. This is why there's so many things that are using your tradition, your religion in order to get to you. When they see that that's the only thing that will get your attention, they will use that to get into your subconscious. And if you're not aware, if you don't understand, you will suffer the consequences. Yeah, so I hope it answered the question, and I hope that it gave you a little bit of encouragement in terms of researching things for your own self, understanding things for your own self. Don't just be scared. Understand what you are being scared, what is scaring you. And the more you understand that, and I think the less scared you will be, and the more you understand also what to do about it, the less scared you will be. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.